Okay. Do you want me to have the timer ready? Okay.
Oh, yes, I would love for you to have the timer ready. Why is it my thing? Why do you look dark? Oh, there. Now that looks better. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. You were wearing your sunglasses a lot. That's how I get my tan looks all the time. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie, Mandy.
And I am here with my bestie, Jessica.
I feel like I haven't seen you in so long.
Well, I did just get back from my cruise where I wore my sunglasses.
A lot. But you have a nice tan. Look at that.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you want to see how nice my legs look?
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Sexy. All right, guys. So this is our 1 minute book recs. This is where we go over all the books we read this past week with 1 minute synopsises for each book.
And we show off our legs.
Yeah, got totally sidetracked there, but I haven't seen Mandy in a little over a week. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get started, what do we want to tell them? Do you even remember?
Bermuda, Bahamas.
Come on, pretty mama.
Well, I was on the Royal Caribbean.
Yes.
Okay, so I would love for everyone to hit the subscribe button and to like and comment on our video. And yeah. And please no mean comments about my sunglass stand.
Also, an early happy birthday, because when you guys see this, it'll be Monday, and that is Mandy's birthday. She finally catches up to me.
Yes. So today's the last day I enjoy math.
And rounding. Today's the last day you can get away with that. So
yes.
Great. I'm gonna hear it all day, gone day. Okay, so you were on a cruise.
I was on a cruise.
Tell me about your reading week. I don't have high expectations for your reading week because it was family time.
Wait, you don't want to hear about the cruise?
Oh, you can tell me about that too, but after this.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, we had a really long flight from, Western Washington to Orlando. So I actually read 7 books.
Okay.
I physically read 5 and then listened to 2. I've started a bunch. I was very restless in my reading, which was weird. So I have a couple books started that I haven't finished. But I specifically picked books that I really wanted to read on this trip. So there are books that I've been really wanting to get to. So I actually had a really good reading week.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
So while you were gone, I needed some emotional support therapy. I read 11 books. I'm only going to talk about 7 because one was a duet and the majority of them there was a chunk that were rereads because I could only comfort myself with Ice Planet Barbarians. We're not going to talk about them again. And then one was our Convincing My Bestie, which that video is already out. That's Bodyguard. So we don't need to talk about that. So we're just going to talk about 7. So we each have 7.
Okay. You could still talk about your Bodyguard and just remind people to go check that out if they want
to.
Go
check it out. It was Adriana Locke. It was Bodyguard. Go read it.
The name of the book was not Bodyguard. It was Flame.
No. It was Flame. I just had to look it up because it's been over a week since I read it. So I'll be like, oops. It was good. Yeah. Go watch. Go watch the Bodyguard.
I actually took my reading journal with me so I could write notes because I'm like, when our turnaround time was very quick, we knew we'd have to record this as soon as I got back. And I'm like, I'm going to be tired and I'm going to have a hard time. So I tried to fill in my journal a little bit while I was gone.
Yeah, I always take my reading journal with me when I travel. It's just kind of nice. It just goes in my carry-on, and that way I don't forget, because obviously I forget. It's been a week, and I don't remember what I read.
Yeah, this is the first time I've taken mine with me.
You take it with you when we go on our trips, though.
Yeah, usually because we're recording, though. Yeah. But when I'm traveling otherwise, I don't.
No, I do. Well, let's get started with these books. I'll go first, and I will save you from having to go first, since we both have the same number. It works.
Also, has anybody taken a cruise to Turks and Caicos? I really want to go there, and I just need to know if it's worth it. Thank you.
We were supposed to do that one, but something was happening, and they rerouted us. And we went to somewhere else.
I don't remember. Our cruise was fantastic. Just Turks and Caicos is always on the 7-day itinerary. We did 5 days. And so it's a lot more money.
Yeah.
But I really
Jeff
want to
has
go.
been there. Jeff has been there a ton of times.
I've heard it's amazing. I want to go on the snorkeling excursion and go there.
Yeah.
My kids all want to go on another Royal Caribbean cruise. They want to go on one of like the new Icon ship. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jeff just would go there directly just to dive because he's a dive master. That's his thing.
But also, I have to go to Disney this summer because I was personally invited to Disneyland's 70th anniversary.
Yes. Oh, so true. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Regardless of what my husband said, my email did not say, "Dear valued customer."
I agree. You got to go. We will be in Disney World in 2026. Though. I know. We'll be at a book signing in Disney World in 2026. That'll be fun. That's in September of 2026.
You got to get your feet pics going though, because I don't want to sit like this on the plane.
You know what? Welcome to my world. With these giant shoulders, I always sit like this on the plane.
I know. I would be next to you.
I know. It's a lot of cuddling. Okay, let's talk about some books.
We should.
We've derailed this one enough. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just so excited to be home to the rainy Washington weather after my sea cruise.
I'm sorry. It was nice.
I just want to share this. This was really exciting for me. Normally, I really don't like getting my picture taken, and like when we had to do our pictures at school, I like actually cried because I felt like I looked hideous in my picture. And I've been working really hard on losing weight, and I've lost quite a bit of weight this year. And I finally got like my husband had some people take our picture when we did our zip lining. And so I'm like, oh, great. It's going to be another picture I don't like. Yeah. And then I actually looked at the pictures and I'm like, wow, these are like the first time like I'm looking at our pictures and I'm like, wow, I can really tell that I lost weight. So it was really exciting.
Your legs were tanned and the way you had them positioned, they looked hot. You did a good job in that picture. I was impressed.
I told Jay that you said that and I'm like, Jessica said my legs look hot. He's like, I didn't think you got burned.
Oh, Jay.
And like, I did get a little red because it turns out I always tan, but it turns out when you go from Western Washington winter straight to the Caribbean,
a little bit.
Your sun, the sun is very intense, and my skin was not quite prepared.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, ready to talk about books.
There were some people with like really nasty looking sunburns walking around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I felt for them
because our last cruise was in the month of January. It was over my 40th birthday, and that was a 10-dayer. We like our 10-day cruises.
When you were 40, I was still in my 30s.
We've covered.
Anyway, let's get moving.
Okay, let's go. All right. So the first book that I have to talk about is a novella that I listened to this week. It was interesting. I've never read this author before, but this was My Bloody Valentine by Mila Crawford. I've heard of her. I just haven't read her. So like I said, it's a novella. It's about Emily and Stone. They grew up, I think they were both in foster care. So they were young when they knew each other. They get separated. Guys, it's a novella. There's not a lot of backstory. He ends up going to prison for 10 years for reasons. And then Emily feels like she has a stalker. Well, Stone is out of prison, and yes, he is stalking her. But he's coming back for his butterfly, and he'll do anything to keep her. And that includes murdering somebody who looks at her the wrong way. Really, that's all this book was. I gave it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of hot stuff right off the bat. It's, if you're one of those girls that really loves that stalker situation, here you go. All the red flags. There wasn't much to say. Yeah. Okay. What you got?
So again, I just want to start off by saying I picked books that I like made myself a list of the books that I wanted to read, and I fell a little short. I didn't get all the books I was hoping to read in, but I did go on vacation with my family.
I think that you're allowed. I think we have kids. It's spring break here this week where you just got off spring break. Kids have friends coming to stay the night. It's Disney dinner and a movie night tonight.
Fun.
So,
So I'm going to have almost all 5 stars. But again, these were books that I've really been wanting to read. So that's why I'm on a 5-star kick. And like I said, I started some other books that I just decided not to continue reading that I'll go to later. So that's Why?
Okay.
So I started right off the gate so nobody has to listen to me hum anymore with Caitlin Can't Die by Liz Hamilton.
Thank God. Okay.
So Jessica's talked about this a few times. I obviously have no idea what it was. I hummed through her reviews because I just wanted to go in blind. So if you also want to go in blind, start your humming now. So Caitlin, this picks up with them like the apocalypse has basically already happened. And Caitlin is surviving with this guy that she had been very casually dating. He was good to look at, but not great in the brain department. And they've been surviving together when she desperately needs tampons and she cannot find them anywhere. And basically, trying to find tampons is going to literally be the death of her. Now, it is called Caitlin Can't Die, not because Caitlin can't die because she's so needed in the world. It's because, like, all these things keep happening to her and she's kind of just like ready to be done because it's not a great place to live in the apocalypse. And so she just like all these things keep happening, but yet she just doesn't end up dying, even though she's like, I should have died like a couple of times by now. And so during this tampon adventure situation, she gets severely hurt and feels like she is now dying when Riley and somebody he's wandering with finds her and basically gets her back to health, and then they start surviving together. There is some banter, there's some chemistry. It was phenomenal. I loved it. It was 5 stars.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next one.
Same. My physical copy arrived yesterday, so I have it.
Oh, nice.
Over on my post-apocalyptic shelf that's down there just a little bit.
Yeah, I still have not organized.
I did organize mine. So the shelf right here behind me and this right here are the books that I have not read yet that I need to get to.
You need to do a bookshelf tour. I know people have been asking for that. So once I get mine done, I'll do one too. But you should do one.
Dust my fancy bookshelf first. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next book.
Also, sorry about the divorce.
I know. He actually said that. And I was like, whoa, we gotta get that on camera. Because what? I'm not getting rid of my books. Granted, he is in spring cleaning mode right now. And so yesterday was literally cleaning all day long. I did do my books though. So
and if you're not sure, it's a short Jessica made. She's not really getting divorced.
Jeff told me I had to get rid of my books, and I was like, divorce court.
Was this before or after you told him you needed more bookshelves after you just got new bookshelves?
Before. I haven't told him that yet.
You need to get taller ones. You're not nearly as tall as you could go.
No, but right now we're going to stick with these because he'll riot if I tell him I need new bookshelves. Just got these in December. It was Christmas.
Maybe he wouldn't notice. Can't you just secure it to the wall and put it above it?
I could put some above there, but he would notice because I'd be like, hey, Jeff, put these together for me.
Oh, well, you got to get more creative.
I mean, I could put them together myself, but why would I? I don't need to. Okay, so the next book is one that I've been waiting to read. I mean, I had it on my TBR to read, but then audio just came out this last week and I got all excited and I was like, I'm so reading that book or listening to that book. So I listened to Fight, and this is by Sloan St. James. This is the first book in, it's a trilogy. It's a Hot Shot trilogy, her Skyridge Hot Shots. Each book is written by a different author though. So this is about Callahan and Prescott, who goes by the name Scotty. So Callahan, at the beginning of the book, he is engaged to somebody else, and things fall apart pretty quickly. They've been together since they were in high school, and he gets his heart broken. So he decides to be a playboy, because what's the point in getting married? They're just going to break your heart. Plus, you're a hotshot firefighter, so you're always out there in the thick of it, and is very dangerous. He's also lost somebody close to him too. So that is his mentality when he meets Prescott. So she comes to town. She's on the run. She's leaving something. She's fleeing. And she comes to town. She's living out of her car when she finally gets a job with the local firefighters or fire department as an EMT. So the hot shots and the EMTs every once in a while will work together on big fires, but typically they're spread out. But she meets Prescott at a bar one night and he hits on her, and she's not I don't know, she just isn't into it. She's not into the one night stand kind of thing. But they have this great banter. They exchange numbers and they go on their way. Well, then there's a training situation that happens, and all these guys are like, "Yep, the new EMT is going to be here." All the hotshot crew knows that there's a new EMT in town. Well, lo and behold, it's not a dude like they think it is. It's Prescott, who goes by Scotty, who shows up. And so they spend the weekend together. Things get hot and heavy, and then there's other things that happen. There is a survival aspect to this, a snowed in aspect to this one.
Ooh.
It takes place in Washington State, in Western Washington. And you do see some of the logging elements and stuff come in. So I gave it 4.5, 5 stars. I'm not sure if it's 4.5 or 5. I keep going back and forth because for me, it takes place where we live. My dad was a logger. Like, there's a lot of things that I could just really relate to in this book. I know it has mixed reviews, but I really enjoyed it. And I can't remember who did the audio because I didn't bring this over with me. But whoever the voice for the audio was like, I might have a new favorite. I gotta find him. We'll figure that out. I'll figure that out while you're talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, my next book is one you are going to want to read, I believe.
Okay.
Because I have found it.
Okay. It as in time travel?
No.
Oh.
Prison.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Tell us about it. Okay.
So, really quick before we switch over, this is probably one of the darkest books I've ever read, and I loved it so much. But it's really, really dark, so make sure you check your triggers because there is some, like, on page, there's abuse on page. It's dark, but it's so good.
Okay. Tell us.
Okay. So this is Obsession by Harley Beck. Yep. First book I read by her, will not be the last. So this is about Savannah. Savannah is a news reporter. She's fairly new to the paper she's working for when she gets called in and told that she gets to interview Robbie in prison, who is just months out from his death row execution, because he has murdered at least 14 women. And she was asked for by name by him. He said that she was the only person he would talk to. So she gets to go do this. And her coworker, Elliot, is not happy. He feels like he should get to do the interview. He wants to tag along, but Robbie has been adamant that it is Savannah and Savannah only, and that's that. So she goes and meets him and talks to him, and that's really where our story takes off. I don't want to give anything away because this is like wild. It is so incredibly good, but there are some extremely difficult pages to read about. Kind of like, yeah. So, but
I've had this on my
good.
Kindle since it came out. I just haven't read it yet. Like, when you mentioned it on your TBR for this month, I was like, why does that sound so familiar? Because it's downloaded in everything.
You need to go read it. I think you would love it.
Probably would.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about because things like, I mean, it's a dark romance thriller.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't really talk a lot about it, but I was hooked. I like started reading and I could not put it down.
Yeah. My shirt's rating up. Sorry, that's why I'm adjusting. Okay.
It went really well with the Caribbean sun.
I bet it did. So just to go back real quick too for Fight, I don't know if you've read Brandon Francis. Have you heard, does his name ring a bell?
That name does not ring a bell.
That was good. It was like up there with Teddy and Tor good.
Ooh.
Yeah. The female narrator is Savannah Thomas, which I've listened to her before. So they were good. Okay. Yeah. So the next book that I have was another one that audio came out this week that made me excited because this was another one that was on my list of books to read. And this was actually on my TBR a while ago. And that is Skin by Sybil Knight. So this is I can't switch myself over. This is a retelling. This is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. It is very, very dark. It is very dark. So definitely check your triggers. There's a lot of non-con. There's a lot of crazy crap that happens in this book. So this is about Emily. Emily wakes up chained to a hospital bed in a basement. Does not know how she got there. doesn't know what's happening. She can tell she's been drugged because she's out of it. This guy comes in and basically he's like, I'm here to kill you, but I'm going to torture you for a while first. And then they start playing this game where if she can guess who he is, guess his name before the 5 days are up, he might not kill her. She tries to attack him at one point only to realize that he was wearing a mask because half of his face, like his eye, is missing. And he says it's her fault. She's the reason why his face is mutilated and he's missing an eye. And she has no clue who this person is or what happened. Then we get flashbacks to when she's younger. And then, and then we go back to the present. Really good, really dark, really crazy. I gave it 4 stars. I don't even know what else to say about it, but it's the first in a series. But I don't think she's written anything else in the series. It's supposed to be a series. Yeah, it was dark. It was something else, but I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay. So we both had some really dark reads this week.
Oh yeah, mine aren't even over. Okay.
Mr. Goose is really excited to be home, but he's like exhausted. I don't know what happened at boarding, but he like is just laying there in the chair, and then every once in a while when one of us is talking, he looks annoyed and then he goes back to sleep.
He had too much fun with his friends, apparently. He made new friends.
Yeah. I felt really bad. He likes to burrow, and I realized when I got him home that I forgot to send him with like a blanket so he could really burrow.
Maybe he didn't get very good rest because he couldn't burrow.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Poor Mr. Goose.
I know. Okay. I feel bad.
All right. Well, now you won't forget next time.
Well, one can hope.
Poor Goose.
If I don't have it written down.
Maybe you need to send him to my house when you're gone.
Can all 3 come?
No. They had free puppies at the grocery store 2 days ago. I got a call from my youngest child begging me. They were lab German Shepherd mix, black lab German Shepherd mix, begging me for a new puppy. Then she FaceTimed. She's like, they're free. And her friend that she was with, it was a friend and the mom of the friend was there. They took one home. And there were 3 left. And Jeff was like, just go get all 3. I was like, we already have 3 dogs. 3 big dogs.
Yeah, you have 3 big dogs and your house is not super big in your yard. I mean, like it's not like you have extra room.
Like we have a decent, for being in town, we have a good size yard. But I mean, no.
But for 6 dogs, no.
No. And I was like, and I had just gone to get their food, and I was like, I just spent $75 on a bag of dog food that will last a week. Absolutely not. No. So she's not happy with me right now. And then she calls me later that night, and she's like, oh yeah, the new puppy that her friend got, because she stayed the night at the house, because duh, puppy. He isn't even potty trained. She's peed in the house 3 times in the 2 hours we've had her home. And I was like, oh, thank God, dodge that bullet. So.
Well, a puppy isn't probably going to be potty trained. They're probably giving them away when they're like, what, 8, 9 weeks old?
Yeah, but we got ours when she was, our Bailey when she was 8 weeks and she was potty trained. She was house trained. But still.
You hear that, Mr. Goose? He still has accidents. I'm not sure what we're doing wrong.
Mr. Goose. I mean, I think Bailey still had accidents, but yeah. Normally we get our puppies when they're like 8 months so that they got all that done. So
yeah.
Anyhow.
Well, okay. Part of the problem I think with Mr. Goose is he's so little that it's really easy to miss like his tinkle.
Yes. So, okay, next book.
Okay, next book. I read a book you've read.
Okay.
Guess which one it is. No, I'm kidding.
Would you just say that I had 1,800 on my Goodreads that I've read over since 2020? Let me choose. Okay, anyhow.
Just tell me. 1 minute book recs went really long today.
I know. I'm still guessing. Yeah. Okay, what is it?
Loud Unspoken Messages by Samantha Christie. Okay, so Jessica's talked about this fairly recently, I believe. So we have Dallas. Dallas, we saw him in the other book. His wife and 6-month-old baby died from carbon monoxide, and he blames himself. And for the last, I think it's like 2.5 years, he has just lived up in the cabin secluded by himself. He still works for the winery, but he just really has very little interaction with anyone. And he's really just kind of, I don't even know if miserable is the right word to describe. He's just so lost and sad, but just refuses to believe that he can have anything good in his life. And Marty is from Florida. Her son's dad and her have co-parented really well. They're very good friends. And she gets the call that he has passed away. And so she is en route to go pick up her young son, who's about 3. And there is snow. She wrecks her car and he comes, and Dallas happens upon her and basically saves her life, because she probably would not have survived out there, because she was not dressed for the weather or anything like that. He gets her back to the cabin, and then basically they get snowed in for like, what is it, like 10, 11 days, I think.
Something like that.
They're stuck there, and she slowly starts to get his walls down. This was a slow burn. I think I overhyped it in my head. It was a 4. There were a few times during the slow burn of them being snowed in that I got a teensy weensy bit bored during the slow burn part. And I think I just really overhyped it in my mind.
Probably.
So then when Dallas started to like come around a little bit, I struggled a little bit with it. I don't know what I was expecting. But yeah.
I get that, because I've done that.
It was still good. It just, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, totally understand that, because I've done that too, where I get all excited and then it doesn't live up to the hype in my head. So I've had this next book on my bookshelf for a while. I have 2 copies on my bookshelf because I bought one. Well, because I bought one and then the author sent me a special edition. So I have both. So look, I have Sugarwood and Sugarwood.
So after you got 2 copies, you're like, dang, I guess I really have to read it now.
I got this at Christmas, so no, not necessarily. The second copy. All right, so let's talk about Sugarwood. So this is by Bryn Ford. This is a dark Hansel and Gretel retelling. Apparently I had a retelling theme this week. So this is about, our Gretel is Glory. And when I say this is dark, I mean it is dark from the first page. So definitely check triggers. Glory is a college student. She's come home for break, and her father is very inappropriate with her and has had an inappropriate relationship where he should just be strung up somewhere because of it, or in jail. And he starts that again with her. She loses it and kind of just snaps, and something happens. Her stepbrother, who is Huxley, ends up coming home from law school at that time and helps her clean up the situation that she's put herself in. And then they go out into the woods to bury the situation that she's put herself in. And on their way home, it's snowing. And she is set to inherit Tolliver candies. Her dad has this big candy company that's like #1 in the nation, so she's an heiress. But she decides, like, on their way back, they get lost in the woods, and instead of finding their way back home, they end up at this cabin, and that is where Huxley is at. And Huxley has his own story, and Huxley takes both of them as his captives and imprisons them in he has a room that has a cell in it, because Huxley has his own demons. And this is an MMF, so there is a relationship between Huxley and Ambrose, the guy. Ambrose is the name of the guy in the thing. I think I said Huxley. Ambrose is the name of the guy that they find in the woods. Very interesting, very dark. It almost had a magical feel to it in certain areas. I gave it a solid 4 stars. It was quite dark and quite kinky in certain areas. But I love Bryn Ford, so I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay.
What do you have?
Well, I have my first Jagger Cole book ever.
Oh, okay.
You've read him.
Mm-hmm.
You like him?
Mm-hmm. I've only read like 2 of his. I have one downloaded that I want to get to soon too.
Yeah.
So
I this is an ALC sunglass situation's really bad. Somebody should have told me about this on the cruise so I could have
I
like
wasn't
lifted
on the cruise with you, and Jay
my
is never going to notice
glasses.
that.
Somebody should have said something so I could, like, it's too late now. I'm back in Western Washington. I
It'll
can maybe
even
fix
out.
this in June.
I know. I was like,
Fingers
it'll even out
crossed.
in June. Probably July, because we really don't get that much sun in June. So,
Well, in June we're going to Ohio, so when
oh
we're in
yes,
Ohio, I'll just walk around
we'll,
like this, and you
we'll
can
be
lead me everywhere.
inside for 90% of it. But yes, I will lead you around.
Well,
Maybe we'll get it fixed in October in Vegas,
no,
in Las
I
Vegas.
need to get it fixed sooner. It looks bad. It's very distracting
awesome.
to myself.
It's awesome. Okay, anyhow.
Okay, so this is an ALC. It comes out April 8th, and this is Deviant Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the Dark Hearts series. So, and it is narrated by Sophie Daniels and Ryan West. I loved them as narrators for this. So this is about Nev. Nev is off to like this meeting when she discovers that there's a lot more going on here than she realized. And her uncle has now arranged marriage her off to Aries. And he is, this is to tie the Greek and Irish mafias together, because there's just a lot of turmoil and things. And so they want this united front. And so she is not happy about it, and she is not one of those, you know, trained mafia women who is like lived her life knowing this was going to happen. She's not pleased, and she's a spitfire. Maybe that's the way I want to describe her. So Aries is hot. He's described as a very hot man. She has been kind of spying on him a little bit across the way before this arranged marriage situation's going on. He is a very dominant man. He's very obsessive, possessive, like alpha, which we love in our mafia men. And so the two of them, this has definitely got those enemies to lovers vibes. The way it's narrated is done so well because you can feel like the tension between the two of them and like all that, you know, very delicious chemistry they've got going on while they kind of still not really liking each other. But there's a lot of other stuff happening kind of in the background that I don't want to give anything away. It's not just simply like the arranged marriage is a portion of this, but there's other things happening that put Nev in danger, and Aries is not going to stand for it. And oh, I really enjoyed it. It was 5 stars for me. The narration was really good.
Awesome. I like the ones that I've been waiting for the narrative because he just did start to get audiobooks for his books like over the last several months. And so as they've been coming out, I've been like into list. I've been listening. I like it. I like his books.
The audio is really good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay.
Check
all right. Because what?
I said check that out.
Check that out. Dang it. Yes.
April 8th, which will be tomorrow if you're watching this the day it comes out.
Yes. Okay.
The day after I no longer like math.
The day after Mandy no longer wants to do the math. Okay. So.
But right now, I'm all about math.
And rounding. Got it. Okay, let's talk about my book. So I did a reread. This isn't one that I've talked about though, I think on the channel before, I unless it was like in a rec video, but I really don't think so. This is a Western. I was having those Western vibes. We all know that I liked the book Named, which was M.L. Marion that I read last year, and I really enjoyed that. And she's having me alpha read another book in that setting, and it was literally 2 chapters, and I was like, dang it, I need more of like a Western. So I pulled this one up. So this is a mail order bride book. This is In Want of a Wife by Jo Goodman. This is actually book number 3 in her Bitter Spring series. I've never read any other book in the series. Don't care. This is the one that I read. I don't think you have to, obviously. So this is about Jane, and she's living in New York in the 1800s, and she is pregnant, and the situation and how she got pregnant, we don't find out until later. It's not what everybody seems to think it is, but she's pregnant. Her family doesn't want her. She lives with her cousins, and there is a cousin situation where one of the cousins was wanting to marry her to make it okay, which is very interesting to me, but that's okay. I don't know how distant cousins they are, but he instead puts her on a train. Because she finds out that she answers an ad for Morgan, who is looking for a wife out west. And so she boards this train trying to get away from a bad situation. and heads west. And when she gets off the train, she's not exactly what Morgan thought she was going to be. And but she's got this secret, you know, she's pregnant, and there's other things happening family wise. And there's not a lot to say. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it the first time I read it. I enjoyed it this time. I think if I had to rerate it, still be a 4, maybe a 5. I think it was a 4 the first time I read it. I can't remember, but I really enjoyed it. I really like these Western ones that are set in the Old West that are still a little spicy, and that give me that. And I really wish there were more out there, because a lot of the times, not that there's anything wrong with clean romance, but a lot of the times Westerns are clean romance 9 times out of 10. So
with a brothel. That's what
with
you
a
wanted.
brothel. You like your brothels, yes. So anyhow,
the
I
Old West brothels, like that.
Yeah,
I grew up. Really fascinates me.
I don't know if you remember this, but I was obsessed with The Young Writers, the TV show The Young Writers. It was only on for 3 seasons. Obsessed. It had a young Josh Brolin in it, and oh my god, that and Lonesome Dove. Those were my things growing up. I love a good Western, but it needs to be written by a contemporary romance writer.
You also really liked Kevin Costner.
I liked Christian Slater too. Yeah, Kevin Costner. Yeah. Anyhow, what's your next book?
Okay, my next book is one that's been on my bookshelf for like a year, because I believe I got it last year for my birthday and I was very excited about it. And sometimes when I'm really excited about books, I put them off because I know I'm going to really like them. And so that I wait for like the right time to read them. I don't always understand what's happening up here in my process of how I pick what I'm going to read. But I read it and I loved it. Okay. Spoiler alert. So that's Dear Agony by Georgia Cates. You might remember Jessica and I've talked about Georgia Cates a few times with The Soul Always Remembers. Oh, that book is so fantastic. If you've not read it, go check that one out as well. So this is about Rose, and Rose is homeless. She's 19. She's living on the streets in New Orleans when a woman approaches her, gives her some money, and tells her to meet her for lunch, or maybe it was dinner. And so Rose takes the money, gets a good night's sleep, gets some clothes, and goes and meets her to find out what's going on. And this lady is Vale, and Vale runs a company called Duets. And what she does is she trains women and basically gets them like presentable and all of that. And she trains them to be a companion. It's strictly like a companionship for men who can pay for this, who for whatever reason don't want to do the dating scene and they just need a companion for various reasons. And so Rose agrees because she's had a really bad life and is like literally living on the streets. So she takes Vale up on this. And then we fast forward about 3 years later, and Vale's best friend Bash is in need of a companion, and he makes a great deal with Vale to get Rose to be his companion. There's contracts, like everything is on the up and up. And so she moves in and they become really, really close. But he has an illness that he is suffering from. And part of the contract is that he will end the contract within 3 years, and she is to leave, no questions asked. And because he wants to go out on his own time. And oh, so good. There's some angst in it. It was really, really good. 5 stars. Loved it. Georgia Cates can bring the angst. Like she knows how to twist you with it.
Yep. Okay. I need to go read that. Okay. So, all right. So the next book that I read was my duet. Now I'd already read the first book in this duet, but I can't talk about the duet without talking to you about the first book. So that is Better Run by Alina May is the first book, and I read Better Hide. So I did a reread of Better Run because I couldn't remember exactly how it ended to do Better Hide. So we're just going to talk about both together here. I'm just going to give you a little rundown because I have talked about this book before. But basically, this is about Mary Jo. She is kidnapped by this guy who is it Jaden? Yeah, Jaden, look at me go. Kidnapped with this guy, Jaden. He's wanting revenge for something. She has no clue what's going on. She is an influencer. She's has like a cooking show, and she really has this following. And he has been stalking her, and then like manipulates it so people think that she left for a job, and then kidnaps her. And he is holding her captive in a cabin in the woods. And then his buddy Cole shows up, who owns the cabin. And lo and behold, like he doesn't know that she's there. When he finds out that she's there and he knows why, then he's on board. And so this is an MFM and it is a captor captive. But there's things that transpire at the end of this book that this book, the way it ends, it could just end. And I loved the first book. When I originally read it, I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And then she wrote a second book. There wasn't supposed to be a second book, but apparently she decided to write a second book, and it's a continuation of their story. There's high stakes involved. Everybody hates each other for a while. Everybody's mean to each other. And I gave the second book, Better Hide, I gave it 4 stars. It was enjoyable just listening to it while I was cleaning and doing other things and didn't need to focus. I don't know that that book was absolutely necessary. I'm just going to put it out there because I would have been fine at the end of the first book, but it's there. It was a good audio when I needed distraction. I gave it 4 stars. So it's kind of nice to hear how it went. So, you know, there's things they have. There might be a little breeding in the second book, so I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey. Next.
Yeah.
I read Chasing the Wild by Elliot Rose. First time reading this author. I know Chasing the Wild has been out there for a year, I think. It's been out for a little while. Lots of people talking about it. So I am now finally reading it. So we have Layla. Layla is trying to draw, like she's been in this relationship with Casey. Casey is just lazy. He cheated on her and she's just kind of done with him, like, and she's moving on. She's in vet school. She has to go to another internship apprentice type thing, and so she has left her apartment. They had broken up a while ago. She's found all, like, a bunch of his stuff that he left there, and so she's like, ugh, I feel bad throwing it away because there's like pictures from his childhood and stuff. And so she has an address for him, so she heads to this place because it's kind of on her way to her next vet play thing that she's doing. She gets there. She meets this really hot cowboy at the gas pump. There's some attraction, but she's not really looking for anything because she's literally just passing through the town. And then she ends up driving up to this beautiful ranch and knocks on the door, and that guy answers the door. And that is Casey's dad, the hot cowboy, Colton. And some things end up happening and she ends up there again, and there's a really bad snowstorm. She ends up stranded and she's freaking out about her vet thing and apprenticeship because she has to be there the next day and she can't leave the mountain. And so he offers her a job to do it at his ranch for her 8 weeks so she can graduate on time. And there is like chemistry between the two of them a lot. But he is trying to really repair this relationship with his son because his son was born when he was like only 17 and he wasn't in his kid's life. And so there's like guilt trying to repair this relationship. And the best way to do that isn't banging your son's ex-girlfriend.
No.
No, not
That's
at all.
probably not in that
So,
instruction manual.
I really love this. I love that trope. So it was really good. I rated it 5 stars.
Okay.
There's
All
a
right.
lot of spice in it too. If you're looking for a spicy book, this would be it.
Okay. Well, the last book that I have, it was a reread. Again, I don't think it's one I think I've talked about once or twice, but we're going to talk about this one because it was not an Ice Planet Barbarian. Okay. And it was a historical. And I don't feel like we talk a lot about historicals on this channel just because we don't jump into them all that often. But when we do, they're typically good. So this is like one of my favorite historicals. And so this is Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I love these ones so much. These are like my favorite Maya Banks. I wish she had more in these series. This is the first one in her Montgomery and the Montgomery and Armstrongs. So this is about Evelyn, who is and Graham. So Evelyn and Graham is the laird of his family's clan. Evelyn is the daughter to the Laird and Hearst, and their clans are rival clans. And the King of Scotland is like, you know what? I'm over this. Y'all need to figure your stuff out, and we're gonna make that happen because I'm gonna force Graham to marry Evelyn. Well, Evelyn took a fall 3 years ago. She was riding a horse. She took a fall. She got a high fever, and now everybody thinks that she's touched or she's addled. They think that she lost her faculties when that happened because when she woke up, she was never the same. She doesn't speak. Sometimes they don't think she can comprehend what they're saying to her. Well, what happened was she's deaf. She fell off the horse, got a high fever, and now she's deaf. She's trained herself to read lips, and she can hear really, really, really low tones. And so when Graham comes to marry her, he's not very happy. Graham thinks he's not going to get married. Like, he thinks he's going to have a wife, but he's never going to be able to have like a marriage where he can have heirs and that kind of stuff because he's making that sacrifice because his king is forcing him to marry her. But he soon realizes that she can hear, or she's deaf, she can't hear, but she can hear the baritone of his voice, which is why she's attracted to him immediately. But I just love the story so much because everybody thinks that she's, touched in the head, and turns out she's just deaf. And it's so sweet. When he realizes she can hear him, he's like, all right, wife, we're off to bed. So, I love it. So good. It's still 5 stars. I really wish you need to read these ones. They have audio, because third person. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What's your last book?
Okay, my last book is one that I absolutely loved. It's phenomenal. It is my favorite of the 5 stars that I read this week. So this is my favorite of the week. It is so incredibly good. So good. So let me tell you about it, and then I'll tell you about the audio that goes with it. So this is Wicked Love by Willow Astor. It comes out on April 10th, audio and the book. And so we have Bowie. Bowie is just all about his daughter, Becca. And Becca has Down syndrome, and he thought they were in love and all of that. And she just decided his fame was too much for her because he's a famous football player. And she didn't really want to be a mom. And then their daughter has, lots of health complications and had to have some surgeries. So she just took off when she was very little. So Bowie is raising Becca all by himself. And he has Becca enrolled in a program for kids, and Poppy works there. And Poppy and Becca really hit it off. And Becca just loves Poppy, and she has questions about she wants a mom and all of those things. And she says some things that sometimes embarrasses Bowie because he doesn't really know how to respond to, that sort of stuff. And Bowie just really, really has his guard up. Dang it, my time's already up. And Poppy starts to kind of wear him down a little bit because of how much she cares for his daughter. And they're at a wedding one night, and one thing leads to another. And then Poppy is pregnant. Mm-hmm. So we get that surprise pregnancy. So I love this one so much. It was so, so good. So this is part of the Single Dad's Playbook series. I don't know if I said that. So it is narrated by Samantha Brentmore, who is just phenomenal. We love her so much. And JF Harding, they do a phenomenal job. But it also has special guest Lily D. Moore, who is, and this is taken directly from her Instagram account. She is, and this is how she labels herself, a Down syndrome actor. And so she voices Becca for it. And it's just really quite cool. I love the whole premise of the book and everything. So it was just phenomenal.
I love that they brought in a Down syndrome voice actor to voice the daughter. That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like
She's been in a few movies and a TV show, a couple TV shows. So she might be someone that people are familiar with too. Yeah. But I really like that they did that. So it was just a really cool.
Yeah, that adds a really cool aspect to it. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. So good job.
Because you don't always see that representation in the books. Mm-hmm. And so that she plays a big role in it. So I just loved it. It was so good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I really enjoy Willow Astor too.
Yeah.
And if you guys like her, you might want to be paying attention to our channel in the upcoming weeks.
I always feel when you weak at me like that.
It's probably really exaggerated with the whites.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's enough fun with us this week.
Yep. I'm just thinking about the Friends episode where Ross goes to get the spray tan. I love that one so much.
Yeah.
One Mississippi. Who says Mississippi?
That's the best.
So good. And then it just keeps getting worse and worse. I feel like I kind of like if I was to try and correct this situation, I feel like I would just make it worse.
And then you'd probably react to whatever they put on your skin.
I know. That does make me nervous. I have to be so careful with it, like wearing sunblock and stuff.
Same.
Like everything.
Yep.
I actually burned from using sunblock once on the backs of my calves. Like the sunblock actually cooked my legs because I can't use hardly anything. Anyways, that is neither here or there.
Yeah.
So thank you, people, for joining us for this wild ride of 1 minute book reviews. Mm-hmm. We hope you found some great books to read or listen to.
Yeah.
And let us know how's life? What's going on? Tell us all the good things or the bad things if you want to share. If you need to get something off your chest, go ahead and put that in the comments too. So let us know what you've been reading. And don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button if you haven't yet.
Mm-hmm. And what days are they supposed to check back?
Well, you probably want to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and sometimes Wednesdays.
Yeah. Okay.
And our Wednesdays are really going to get rolling.
They will.
We had a little hiccup. We had to do some rescheduling because someone had to have surgery.
But that's all good now.
And then somebody's surgery recovery was a little bit longer than anticipated.
That was the worst. That was the worst. Anyhow, we're good now. We're good. So, all right, guys.
Ours is better.
Thank you. I'm glad the arse is better too. So, all right.
I was getting worried we were going to have to start doing it from your bathtub.
A lot of baths were involved. It was the only way to soothe things. Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I know this was unhinged, but we haven't seen each other in a week. But we'll see you in the next video.